That Sober Guy podcast contains adult content, merciless truth, and emotional nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
What's up? I'm Shane Raymer. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast, and we help people stay sober. Fuck yeah, we do, baby. Hope you're having a good day. Glad you're here. I'm a little pumped up today. It's been a weird week. I'm sure some of you can relate to that, the ups and the downs of life, the change. We're going to talk about change today. Feels like I'm spinning around like daily right now. The head's spinning. How's yours? But you ain't bringing me down, motherfuckers. Hell yeah, get pumped up. Fuck it. We can do that. Be sure to check us out at thatsoberguy.com. You can connect with us there. Leave us a voicemail. You can send us a message to the contact form. If you're looking for a guest inquiry, there's also a guest inquiry tab on there. So go ahead and check that out. You got to check out That Sober Guy podcast on Locals. It's kind of like Instagram meets Patreon. And I want to give a shout out to one of our homies in the sober community on Locals, Alex, who's celebrating 6 years. Looking awesome right there. Very good job, sir. I know it's filled with many ups and downs. It's not easy. And anyone who has any time or has had any time at one point knows that it's not so much just the struggle to stay sober from substances. It can be the struggle in just how to live life on life's terms. And that's how I came up with the topic this week for change. Just some personal experience I'm going to share a little bit of. And, hey, just a straight freestyle session this week. Again, I love to be able to get on here and just share some of the thoughts and some of the things that I've talked with other people about, friends, homies, sponsor, and then just experience this week and share some of that with you guys in the hopes that maybe something relates to you and your experience as well. Before we do that, just the Locals app real quick. You can download that. The link's in the show notes there. And then the app to go directly to the website, that soberguypodcast.locals.com. Basically a sober community where there's some exclusive content. You're going to get the podcast early in there throughout the weeks. Have a place to share, chat, laugh, just connect with each other. Be independent thinkers and like-minded people. There's no data sharing. There's no behind the scenes censorship. We control the community. So just a little thought. If you haven't joined us, I'd love to have you in there. And you can download the Locals app once again, or go to That Sober Guy podcast, locals.com. Both links are in the show notes and on the website. And then also, if you're looking to figure out how the hell to navigate the first 90 days of sobriety, I created a digital podcast course, and you can go on the website, thatsoberguy.com. You can check it out there. There's a little video on there that'll explain a little bit. Basically, I got some doctors, some homies, some podcasters, people in recovery who've dealt with it from a professional perspective as well as a personal perspective. And we talked about what we did in the first 90 days, what worked, what didn't work, and really trying to encourage others how they can do it too. So if you want to check that out, you can go to thatsoberguy.com and you can click on courses there, and you can find that 90 days of sobriety course. And, I'm looking to create some new content around that and really trying to help people stay sober, stay away from relapse. I really want to nail down some different topics that are more particular, like relapse, like having fun in recovery. So if you have ideas, if you're struggling with something and you really don't, you're looking for some answers, and maybe it's something that myself or the community on Locals can help with, either shoot us a message on the contact form there, tell us what you're struggling with, or hop on Locals and get on there and share as well. Really want to just encourage you guys to do that. Utilize the platforms, utilize the podcast, and I will do my best to do my part in this and try to create some stuff, or talk to some people and share some of those conversations that can help. So Last but not least, hoodies, hats, they're all on there too. There's some dope merch. You can go on there and check that out as well. So I got to a meeting this week at 6:30 a.m. and my first in-person meeting in, I think probably close to a year now. And it was absolutely amazing. It was great. A really just awesome people in there. Great to see smiles. The majority of people being able to see their faces, their reactions, their shares, the laughs, just everything. It was so reviving, I want to say, to the spirit, not just to be in the room and be around some other people in recovery, but just to see people laughing because they're happy and sober, but also to see their faces not covered. And I don't care what anybody does. I don't care. I just want people to have a free choice in what they want to do. And, if people are fearful in everything that's going on, then that's fine. There's plenty of Zoom meetings and there's other avenues too, but it really was great to just be around people and not live in fear and see people's smiles, that human connection that we possess inside of us that makes us who we are, that makes us feel human, that makes us connect to one another. It was just really, really amazing. And actually had somebody come up to me, Nadia, just want to give her a shout out. She said hi and that she had listened to the podcast, and that was really, really cool to run into her and just connect a little bit on that tip too. So thank you for listening, and to everybody out there, just stay plugged in, stay connected, do your best, put the next foot in front of the other. And you can really work through anything, as long as we're staying connected there. So like I said, I don't really have a lot of notes and, thoughts in today's podcast because I really wanted it to be, very organic. And I just wanted to share a little bit about some personal stuff that has been going on. I feel like I touch on personal stuff here and there, but a lot of the time it's a guest or I kind of pick a topic and go over it generally, but I've really been going through some stuff with change, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it and just get some things off my chest, and hopefully it can help somebody out there who's listening who might be dealing with change right now, whether it's loss, impermanence, you're changing jobs, you're changing locations, you're changing relationships, whatever it is that you're going through that is happening, that's a change in your life right now. Change can be so difficult. It can be really, really tough. And one of the first things I want to say is, I'm so grateful to the network of friends and community and people that I'm a part of and that are in my life today that I can trust and rely on and talk to. I talked to my sponsor, Buddy. I talked to my good homie, Seth. I talked to my homies, my good homies, Josh and Justin. I talked to my wife, I talked to my mom. I was able to, I post stuff in the locals community, and get messages and feedback there. It's so important to be able to have those people in your life to help guide you and to help give you, their experience, their feedback, their thoughts on whatever it is you're going through, and to be able to get that stuff off of your chest. So that's like number one. Like, who are your people? They say, who's your tribe? Like, I don't really like that shit. I think it's kind of cheap. What, you got to find your tribe and all. It's like the keyword shit, but I mean, it is true. It's a tribe, but like, who's your people? Like, who's your people? Like, where are they? How are you staying, dialed in? And that has been huge through some of this stuff in this last week. And so, this has been months coming. And I'm not really sure, like, even in the moment right now, like how far I want to get into detail. So I think I'll kind of keep it general just for privacy purposes. But we're going through a location change right now, should I say. And we've made some decisions financially with our house and with, wanting to help some family out. And we're going to head, we sold our house. We're going to head down to the beach for the summer. And we're going to kind of sit back and wait on God to do to do whatever God's going to do, whatever the universe is going to do, whatever something higher than us is going to do for our family. And there's a ton of uncertainty in that. Like, a lot of people don't understand it. Like, how they have a family? Like, how can they just sell their house and just bounce out and just live? I'm lucky enough to where I can come back up to my central location to still work. And then I can kind of travel back and forth as needed, to continue to do the work that I do. Our kids are homeschooled, so that's huge. Like, Jess has been doing just an amazing job of stepping up and, getting our kids out of, in our opinion, and not to get too deep into the weeds on this, but into a school system that is it tends to indoctrinate rather than teach. I don't really know how else to put it. And it's not all teachers and all schools, so I'm not knocking everything, but I just think that there's some things right now that are weird and different, and we're doing our best as a family to make our decisions that what we think is best for our kids. And I would encourage everybody to do that shit. If you disagree with that, that's cool. Do what's best for your family. We all have that free choice. But for us, we just felt like it was time to move. And I'm a firm believer that you can't move in God's plan for your life if you're staying stagnant and you're staying comfortable. And we have been so comfortable the last 4 years, and I don't think I've really felt in the last 4 or 5 years. And that's kind of weird to say. It might, it kind of even didn't make sense to me at first when I started thinking about it. But you get so comfortable and everything is going, okay. And it feels great that it kind of blocks you from being able to step out. And so, in this last week as leading up to this in the last couple of months, we did a couple things, and maybe I want to kind of take a couple notes here so I can make sure I hit this. So, we had a garage sale. Let's just kind of start there. So as you're getting ready to move, you collect shit over the years, right? You collect things in your attic, in your garage, in different rooms throughout the house, junk drawers, toys, clothes. Go down the list. Bikes. We had all kinds of shit. And when you're moving, you can't take everything with you a lot of the time, but it's hard because you have these attachments to this stuff. Like, how many of you have attachments to shit that you're like, man, there's got to be something that you could think of right now that you're super attached to that you haven't used in a long time. But if you got rid of it, it would like bug you and you wouldn't want to get rid of it, even though you haven't used it in a long time. There's an attachment to that. And when we have those things, which are totally normal, we all have them, try getting rid of some of that stuff and having to disconnect from some of the quote stuff. And it's difficult. And so we had a garage sale, number one. Shout out to my homie Shane, lending me some tables and a big ass garage sale sign. And he gave me this, recommended this garage sale app that I put the garage. So last time we had a garage sale, like nobody came. And then this time, I don't know if it was just the season. Everyone was trying to get out of the house. It was amazing. We had so many cool people show up. We got rid of a lot of stuff. We made a little pocket money for the travels, and we had some great conversations along the way. I love that. I love meeting people, hearing a little bit about their story, sharing a little bit about ours. That's what the shit's about. But we had to part with a lot of stuff. And on one point, it feels really good. And I've been in go mode. It's like go, and so I'm not stopping to feel, I'm not stopping to think. I'm just in the mode. And we sold a lot of stuff, had a great weekend. And then, at the end of the weekend, it was time to go to the dumps with a lot of stuff that we didn't sell. We didn't get rid of. We tried to give shit away at the end, and when you get to that point, it's like, okay, we need to kind of finish this off. Right. And so you want to donate stuff. You get to a point where you can only donate so much stuff that they'll take. And then you got to go to the dumps. And so as we're kind of transitioning into what I did is I actually rented a moving truck. I'll just save the brand because I'm not trying to be a branding man right now, but we rented a truck from a local place, and I took it home, and me and Cash, we just loaded that shit up with all of the stuff. I had all kinds of stuff in the backyard. Like I had old tree stumps that we cut down. I had an old ass tub, like this big ass cast iron tub. My homie and I, Christian, when we redid the bathroom in here, I don't even know how the hell we got it out of the house because it's that heavy. And we got it out on the side yard, and it's literally been sitting there for like 2 years. My lazy ass just never took it to the dumps. And so I had to get that up in the truck, which was kind of funny because I thought that it was going to be harder to get this like super heavy cast iron tub into the truck, but I used an appliance dolly and a strap, and it was really pretty easy to get in the truck. It was a fucking pain to get it out, man, pushing it out into the dump. Like, I'm pretty sure I tore I probably didn't tear it, but I strained my poor little pec muscle trying to push it out. And it was hella funny because Cash was in there going, "Come on, Dad, you can do it. You can do it, Dad." He was like cheering me on. Such a good boy for his dad, trying to, struggling a little bit, trying to act tough and strong and try to get this big ass tub out. And I eventually did. I put that thing up and like flipped it off, and it rolled right off the truck into the dump dirt. But in any case, we had a ton of shit is the point. I mean, toys, all kinds of stuff. And it was a learning experience for both Cash and myself. I mean, Cash had stuff that he had to get rid of too. It didn't make it to the donation side. It didn't make it through the garage sale. Clothes, toys, stuff that you don't really know you have, but it's like, it's sentimental to you at the same time. It was a time and an experience and a moment when you played with that thing, or when you used that thing, or when you wore that thing, or when you were a part of whatever that thing or that piece of equipment or that stuff is. There's an attachment to it. And it's hard to part with some of that stuff and change. And so like Cash and I are standing there, and he starts crying. And I had to stop, and it was such a good opportunity. Like, God is, when you force yourself to get uncomfortable and start making decisions that don't, that in your gut that are right. Like we know what we're doing is right, but it's uncomfortable. It's a lot, it's a huge change in our life right now. And when you force yourself to do that, you're forced to face stuff like head on. You're forced to sit in it. And I've been having a really hard time doing that. And it's really made me realize in the last couple of days how much I still block shit out. I used to drink about it. I used to numb it out by booze. And now even though I keep up, man, and I meet with my sponsor, and I try my best to go to some, at least a meeting a week, if not every other week. I'm doing the podcast every week. I'm talking to people. I'm always trying to stay open, and do my best, a little bit of meditation, prayer, like trying to do the things, right? It's never perfect, but I try to stay my best plugged in. And yet it's still a reminder how vigilant we have to be, because I still tend to block shit out. And so as we're sitting there in the truck, we're pushing this shit out. We're pushing like toys, and we had some fun too, man. Cash, I brought all the glass stuff. We had a bunch of like old wine glasses and some bottles and some bowls, and we had quite a few things of glass. And so I let Cash, take that whole trunk full of shit and just toss it in the air and just watch it shatter everywhere. And that part of it was pretty fun. He was throwing it. We were having a good time together, and we were trying to make the best of it. But like I was saying, at one point, Cash kind of broke down and started crying a little bit, because here he was having to face the fact of change, like having to face getting rid of stuff, which really is material possession stuff. And I understand that, but at the same time, that's a really hard thing for, grown adults, let alone a 6-year-old to get rid of stuff. And I started questioning, like, man, maybe I shouldn't have brought Cash here. Maybe I should have just done this on my own. Cause I honestly didn't really think about it until we got out there. We were just going, we weren't in the moment. We weren't conscious in that, in that state, I guess. And it was a little bit tough. Sorry, I'm trying to look here. I know I'm kind of, where did it go here? I had a word I wanted to share there. Presence. That's what it was. I had text Seth earlier with, by the way, and maybe if I remember, I'll put this in the show notes. I had a great chat with Seth today, and he shared the 5 hindrances from Against the Stream podcast, which is a great listen. And I went through it today, and I took a couple notes, and one of the things, that I believe his name is Vinny, said in it is that I noticed what was missing, and it was my presence. It wasn't the stuff. It wasn't the things. It wasn't the stuff I don't have or the stuff I do have. It was my presence, being present in the moment. And so my point to that is as Cash and I were loading shit up, as we've been going through the process of selling the house and figuring out where we're going to go, and we still don't really know, it's temporary and all this stuff. Like, I haven't been so much present in those moments. And even for the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, yeah, I've had moments that are present. I think it's impossible to be present, by the way, at every moment of the day. It's, I don't know. I feel like that's really fucking difficult, but I think with practice, we can get better at it. And so having this realization that, like, I'm standing there in the back of this truck, throwing out all our shit, and like, I'm forced to be present in the moment and actually face and talk to my son and give him a hug and explain to him what we're doing and how he's so strong for doing this and how this is a really good lesson in change and being able to adjust and kind of accept. Acceptance is so big, I'm realizing, through all this. And it's not easy, man. I definitely don't want anybody to think that, like, I have it figured out, and because you should hear the conversations I have with Buddy. Like, I mean, thank God that I have, friends and family and people to bounce shit off, because I don't fucking know sometimes. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like a lost kid trying to, like, be this man and lead a family, and it's fucking hard. It's hard some days, but it's also amazing at the same time. It kind of get both ends of the spectrum, and that's life, and that is life. And so being aware in these things is so important. So back to the truck roll. I'm sorry, I'm kind of sidestepping here, but we get everything out. One of the cool things is that I told Cash too, man, if you see something that you want that got in here by accident, man, grab it. We don't have to throw that out. And so he ended up we found a little teddy bear, a little A's teddy bear. Let's go Oakland, a little Oaktown, old school status on some baseball. So that little bear he kept, and then he found a pillow from his treehouse that was up there that got into the mix too, and he kept that pillow. And so he got rid of almost everything, but it was cool to see, he kept one or two things to kind of hold on to, that moment. And that seemed to help. That seemed to help him, kind of disconnect from those attachments. And it was hard. It was really hard. And we got back home and we talked about it on the way home. And, there's really, I feel like, a good lesson for myself, for all of us to learn in that, is that stuff is stuff. And sometimes, whether we're talking about stuff or whether we're talking about the impermanence of anything in life, that stuff goes through changes. It's hard to adjust to, it's hard to adapt to, but we have to be aware in those moments of what's happening. Like, shit is changing right now for me, for my kids, for my wife, for our family, for our friends. Like, shit is changing all around us, and being in that and having to feel it is really, really hard. So let me move on to the next one. Well, there's 2 of them. We had, let me just say this. I'm going to stick with one of them. I want to make this to the point. I don't want to get too far out. The other one was, we had, I think I've done a couple podcasts about our kitty, the cat. We call her Kitty. Her name's Ruby, but I don't know, for some reason it's always Kitty. Kitty this, Kitty that. Cool ass cat, Siamese cat. I didn't want her. I admit in the beginning, I didn't want a cat. We ended up getting it. I got overruled, and for Lucy's birthday, and it worked out okay. But the cat got pregnant. Okay, that was one of the whole another sour subject there. I was like, we need to get the cat fixed. Nobody got the cat fixed. Cat got pregnant, whatever, had kittens not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago. And so now we're in this predicament where we have to find a foster home for the cat, because we can't take the cat where we're going and the kittens. And so, man, that was another hard thing to do. And I tried to duck it and dodge it because I didn't want to feel. And I tried to act like it was that I'm not dealing with that. That's your deal. You did that and you didn't take care of business by getting it fixed, which, I mean, I don't mean to be an asshole, but I still can be a dick sometimes. And I was trying to use that as a way to sidestep the fact that I didn't want to feel guilty and bad and like an asshole dad for having to foster this kitty and the kittens. And I think that was the right decision. We all decided that was, and it was one of our only options really when it came down to it. But that wasn't the point of it. The point was I didn't want to feel again. I didn't want to adapt to the change. I didn't want to accept that we had to do this. And so I tried to kind of pawn it off on my wife to take care of it. And the foster home ended up being a great place, a great little house to take her. And we're going to get her back actually in not too long. So the kids are happy about that, which was a win-win. They'll adopt the kittens out, but it was out of town. And so it actually kind of forced me into going and having to face and having to watch and having to do that experience, just like in the dumps, instead of just trying to, hide out and just push everything out by myself. I had Cash there, and we had to face this stuff. We had to face change. And now we got a few days left in our house. And, that's the biggest change is that, this is our first house we bought. There's a lot of great memories here. There's a lot of things that happened in this house. We, Jess hosted a lot of women for her women's group here. They had a lot of just great breakthroughs, spiritually, a lot of good times, a lot of good get-togethers, parties, all that stuff, right? All those memories, and they're all impermanent. They're all moments in time, and you don't realize when you're changing, when you're going through stuff, how important they are, how much people love you, how good those times are when you're not fully aware, being in the moment. And it is. I'm not going to beat myself up over it, and neither should you if you are thinking of specific times when you wish that you could have been a little bit more mindful, a little bit more aware, a little bit more accepting in both of those, which can make you feel a little bit. You can understand the change. You can go through the change. And so we're being forced into that right now. And I know I'm a little bit all over the place with some of this, but like I said, this is really just from my heart right now in the moment. And I'm having to face this, this stuff. And gosh, I mean, don't get me wrong. This could be way worse. There's so many things that I'm fucking stoked about and excited about right now. But that little voice up there, I heard someone in a meeting call it the shitty committee the other day or yesterday, what meeting that was. And I've always just called it the committee. I've never heard it as the shitty committee. I'm sure it's a pretty common one. I had never heard it. And I think that's a great way to put it. Those little voices that get in our head and go, how could you do this? Why'd you do that? You're such a piece of shit. Why? How could you? You're wrong. All that stuff, that self-negative talk. It doesn't do any good. It's not productive. It's a lie. And we have to recognize that and not give it attention, let it pass through, and maybe speak it out to somebody when we start feeling like that. And I can tell you this, even after 7.5 years sober, I still get it because I had it this week. And I'm still working through this stuff, this change. So if you're going through change right now, if you're struggling with something, whether it's not drinking, whether it's a change, any change, so kind of here's what I had a couple conversations. I think I mentioned that today with Buddy, with Seth, with my mom, Josh, Justin, homies, community, my peeps, right? My tribe. Fuck that. No, we don't say that. I'm just kidding. We can say that. We could say, I'm just kidding. What the fuck? That's weird. My mind is weird. I'm sorry. But listen, here's the thing. You can call it whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Your group, your community. So important to bounce stuff off. Let people know how you're feeling. Be plugged in somewhere. And if you're dealing with change right now, like I am, just sit in it. I'm really going to try the rest of this week to just sit in that change. And then not only that, some of the greatest advice that I got today was to just focus on my family, focus on helping my kids, focus on helping my wife. And that gets me out of myself, because I'm a selfish fuck sometimes. I'm sure you are too at times, and you know that, and you can feel it. And you don't want to be like that, just like I don't want to be. But it's just something that we're human. We have those traits, and we can only work on them and practice them and get better at them when we're conscious of them and we recognize them and we talk about them. So the last really thing, to be honest, that I wanted to do today was come on and talk about this. I've been, kind of sweating it, and not because I'm like trying to hide anything. It's just like, it's hard to talk about stuff, especially personal stuff sometimes. I kind of save that for meetings or, different conversations. But I think that this is so important for me to share. And I really hope that somebody hears it and, they can relate to it, and they can go, man, change. It's hard, it's tough. And, one of the best things that we can do is acknowledge it, and accept it. And, remember the good times, be there for those, consciously, and those moments, those memories, when you're going through the old pictures, or you're thinking back about what you should have, could have done better. We're always going to have that stuff. But the more we progress, the more we get uncomfortable, and let me tell you this too. Don't be scared to get uncomfortable. I know it's scary. It's tough. We get in a spot where it's easy, it's comfortable. And in my experience, God doesn't work in being comfortable. The time when I grow, like right now, is when I'm super uncomfortable, and I can literally feel growth happening, and I can literally feel something in me relying and trusting God more, now, because I'm uncomfortable. I don't know. It's the unknown, the fear, all that stuff, man, that if you understand it, or maybe understand it is the wrong word, because I don't think that I fully understand it, but I think I'm becoming more aware of it, and it's helping to to kind of deal with it, and to kind of work through it, and to be able to be aware. And awareness, that's the secret. That's really just what. So I'm sorry, it's awareness, but it's my presence. And I want to say again that I heard that from the podcast, The 5 Hindrances, today that Seth sent me, and it was so good. The presence, that was present in the moment. And so I'm going to try to practice that. I encourage you guys, try to practice being in the moment, using your tools, expect change. Like, change is good. It sucks sometimes, and, but God can't move in that if we're staying stagnant and we're staying stuck and we're not stepping out. So if you have something that you want to do, you want to try, it doesn't have to be any crazy thing like a move, or, or like you don't have to go out and quit your job and find a brand. I mean, maybe it's just something small, something change that, you're going to cut sugar out of your diet, or you're going to start, running during the day, or during the morning hours, a couple days a week, or maybe you're trying to quit drinking and you really do want that change. And you're like, man, I'm going to go 30 days. Like, I really want to get 30 days sober. There's programs, there's tools, there's all kinds of resources at thatsoberguy.com, of course. And you can do it, is what I'm saying. Like, expect it to be tough some days, but that's why we have people. That's why we have communities, friends to help us get through that. So shout out to all my homies. I love you guys. Shout out to the locals community. If you're not in locals, please join in there. I'm really trying to build that thing together with all of you, and just make it a great place for us to stay connected. If you have questions, comments, you want to share an idea for the show, go to thatsoberguy.com, click on the contact form. Man, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope something spoke to you and change. Share the podcast with a friend. Peace, love, and respect. Keep your blood clean.